Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Shloka a Day. Today's Shloka is Shloka number 13 of chapter 9. Mahatmanastu mam partha
Mahatmanastu mam partha
Daivim prakritimashritah
Daivim prakritimashritah
Bhajantyananyamanaso
Bhajantyananyamanaso
Nyatva bhutadimavvyayam.
Nyatva bhutadimavyayam.
Word for word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mahatmanaha,
Mahatmanaha,
the great souls.
the great souls.
Two,
But
mam, unto me. You have to unmute yourself. Partha. Where did Mataji go? I think she got disconnected.
Sorry, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, she will start again. Mahatmanaha,
Mahatmanaha,
the great souls.
the great souls.
Two, but mam, unto me. Partha, O son of Pritha.
O son of Pritha.
Daivim, divine. Prakritim, nature. Ashritaha, having taken shelter of. Bhajanti, render service. Ananya manasaha, without deviation of the mind. Nyatva, knowing. Bhuta, of creation. Adim, the origin. Avyayam, inexhaustible. Translation: O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service. Because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Original and inexhaustible. So let's look at the purport written by Srila Prabhupada and then we'll discuss the shloka. So in these two shlokas, which is shloka 13 and shloka 14, the Lord is talking about his Kevala Bhaktas. So in shlokas 11 and 12, the Lord talked about the Mayavadis and said that the path that they are following of believing that this Brahman, when it comes into Prakriti, comes under the influence of Prakriti, and therefore there is no difference between Krishna and an ordinary human being. They are treading a very dangerous path. So the Lord is saying here, the shloka begins with the Lord saying those who are not deluded, which means shlokas 11 and 12, the Lord is saying those personalities who follow this Mayavadi path are deluded. So just like in chapter 7, where the Lord contrasted 4 types of devotees who do not surrender to him and 4 types of devotees who do surrender to him. Similarly here, the Lord is drawing a contrast between the Mayavadis, who are treading a dangerous path, and the pure devotees. So 2 shlokas Mayavadis, 2 shlokas pure devotees. So the Kevala Bhaktas, the Lord is saying, are protected by Yoga Maya. There are 2 aspects to devotion. internal aspect is to always be meditating on the Lord. The external aspect, which we will see in tomorrow's shloka, is about serving the Lord. Hence, bhakti means two things. It means devotion, and it also means service. Therefore, Prabhupada very precisely defines bhakti as devotional service and not just as devotion. Internally, you can meditate on the Lord, but if you are not engaged in service of the Lord, that is not an expression of love. So in this particular verse, the Lord is talking about the internal aspect of his pure devotees, which is, what are they doing? They're always meditating. They're always chanting the holy names of the Lord. They're always thinking about the Lord. So Prabhupada writes, in this verse, the description of the Mahatma is clearly given. The first sign of the Mahatma is that he is already situated in the divine nature. He is not under the control of material nature. So two natures, material nature and divine nature, Mahamaya and Yogamaya. Yogamaya is actually Radharani herself. And how is this affected? That is explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, at once becomes freed from the control of material nature. So you go from being under the control of material nature to being under the control of Yogamaya. That is the qualification. One can become free from the control of material nature as soon as he surrenders his soul to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the preliminary formula. Preliminary formula Prabhupada is saying is, you have to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the first step. Being marginal potency. Who's the marginal potency here? It is you and me. As soon as the living entity is freed from the control of material nature, he is put under the guidance of the spiritual nature. The guidance of the spiritual nature is called Daivi Prakriti, divine nature. So when one is promoted in that way, by surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one attains to the stage of great soul, Mahatma. This is the true meaning of the word Mahatma. The Mahatma does not divert his attention to anything outside Krishna, because he knows perfectly well that Krishna is the original Supreme Person, the cause of all causes. There is no doubt about it. Such a Mahatma or great soul develops through association with other Mahatmas, pure devotees. Pure devotees are not even attracted by Krishna's other features, such as the four-armed Mahavishnu. So Prabhupada is stating here, a pure devotee is always attracted to the original form of Shyamasundara. A pure devotee is not attracted by Krishna's other features or forms as Mahavishnu or Narayana or Narasimhadev, etc. They are simply attracted by the two-armed form of Krishna. They are not attracted to other features of Krishna, nor are they concerned with any form of a demigod or of a human being. So Prabhupada is emphatically stating, Krishna means Krishna only, nobody else. This is the status of pure devotees. It does not mean that the pure devotee will not respect or offer worship to the other forms of the Lord, but their attraction is towards Krishna in his two-handed form, not to any other form of the Lord, not to any demigods, and certainly not to any human being. They meditate only upon Krishna in Krishna consciousness. They are always engaged in the unswerving service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness. So here in these two shlokas, the Lord is talking about two elements, the 13th shloka and the 14th shloka, which we are yet to do, which is that there is this aspect of bhakti an inner journey of being completely connected to the Supreme Lord and being completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, to the external journey and expression of that connection in the form of service. So the same thing the Lord has also described in the 7th chapter. So 2 verses, description of Mayavadis, 2 verses, the description of the pure devotees. This Daivim Prakritim is an indirect reference to Srimati Radharani. So as we know, there are 2 natures. There's material nature and spiritual nature. So here the spiritual nature is referred to as Daivim Prakritim. Now keep in mind, Prakritim also means the material cosmos. But here, Daivim Prakritim means that nature which is intimately connected with Krishna. So the word Daivi and Prakritim is used both to reference spiritual nature and material nature. It is just, we translate it in English as Mahamaya and Yogamaya. So depending on the context, the words take on different meanings. So earlier, when the Lord was using the word Daivi, in the 7th chapter, in the 14th shloka, Daivi Esha Gunamayi Mamamaya Duratyaya, there also the Lord was using the word Daivi. But there the Lord was referring to his external separated inferior energy, which is Mahamaya. But ultimately the Lord is saying either Yogamaya or Mahamaya, both of them are under his control. Neither one of them is independent of him. So that is why he's referencing to, he's taking personal association of this energy. He's saying they are both mine. They operate under my instruction. So they operate under my will. So when we are tempted to move away from Krishna, then we are under the influence of Mahamaya. When we are attracted towards Krishna, then we are under the shelter of Yogamaya. So this is how we understand the shloka. So one way to understand this is that one aspect is that devotion actually changes your heart. It makes it compassionate, it makes it loving, it makes it giving. It allows you to share this experience with others. Whereas service, which we will look at in tomorrow's shloka, actually shapes our very life. So bhakti has an internal element as well as an external element. So that is the essence of the shloka that we are covering today. We are looking at the internal element of bhakti, where the Lord says that his devotees are fully engaged in devotional service because they know him as a Supreme Lord, original and inexhaustible.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.